Hello gamers, the deck today is Hybrid Haven. Basically, Warp Haven plus Crash Haven mashed into either a abomination or the most genius deck making I have ever made. Well, not really, I don't know. It's literally day one. This was a day one list. I have not updated it since, and I have no idea how this will age, because frankly I literally had to make this video in like under an hour so I can make my trip on time. But so yeah, if it's good, I'm sorry for your loss, and if it's bad, good riddance. But this is what Haven at its core, with Crest on the as a side dish. Basically, you just find your Wilbert, you play your Ether, and you make the thickest, fattest board you ever had, you will ever see, and you will ever made. That is also uninteractable because of Aura, thanks to Ether's super evolve effect, and you just go face from there. It's really that simple. And of course, in my opinion, you really have to add in the Crash package, because well, that's the removal that you get from Torrent of Despair that's just so good that you cannot miss it out. Although Marin herself is also a good body, and he also gives you an effect that you could potentially use to burn your opponent. I like Shining Disenchantment. I chose Shining Disenchantment here personally because I like the heal. I also like that it can push for damage, which this deck does kinda lack, and which also, right, in turn ties in with Sandalphon, which is the win condition of choice. Why did I not choose it over John? Why did I choose Sandy over John? I don't own any copies of John. I don't feel like crafting any copies of John. In fact, I crafted 3 Grimnir for this deck. That's expensive enough already. I don't feel like investing in Johns, even though I acknowledge John is a crazy good card, which could almost replace Unholy Vessel. But there are some utility that Unholy Vessel provides that it doesn't make sense to cut this card. And also another new card I'm running, Vera Luminous Primal Knight. Doesn't matter in 80% of games, but in that one game where she doesn't get removed, good for you. You just got a win condition somehow. But that's basically for the deck introduction. I'm not gonna delete too long on this, because by the time this video goes live, the fun will have probably been optimized out of this deck already. So yeah, enjoy yourself, enjoy the gameplay from all the way in from day one, and let me know how the meta is going, because I have no idea, and I would love to hear from you. So yes, leave a like, leave a subscribe, and I'll catch you in a minute. Like, generally, right, honestly, it's so rare for me to even make a Haven videos on this channel, like, given my extreme distaste of Haven. But I assure you, dear viewers, this is more out of convenience rather than any personal what's the word for this? I don't know what's the word for it, but personal favors or whatsoever. It just so happened I opened 2 Galleons, I already have 2 Wilberts, and then the Haven deck, trial deck is actually one of the best in my opinion, giving another copy of Galleon as well as another copy of Wilbert, which is basically all I need to complete the set. Like, at that point I had to pick it. But let's take a look at our game today. In fact, right here I basically have the perfect Haven opening hand, you might say. Marrowin as well as Marrowin, Grimnir on 3, Marrowin on 4, and I can even go into +1 Wilbert on 5. And that is probably what I will go into. In fact, I think I'm up against Spell Boost here, which is funny enough. I didn't realize I actually played against a Spell Boost deck, but I did take a lot of damage. If you see it, this is a lot of damage. Like, generally so much damage. Which unfortunately is a trade-off you have to make, as this deck really doesn't have any good, well, at least Mighty's doesn't have any good early game removal at all. Like, it's really bad. In fact, it's almost egregious how bad my early game is, which I almost had to rely solely on Blinding Faith, which is an incredible 4-drop. In fact, I took so much damage by turn 6. Look, I'm literally in Odin range. It's crazy how much damage I took, but That's what happened, and we did manage to stabilize by going to Ether. I still die to burn, duh, but like this bot state is not the worst. In fact, just look at Galleon here for a minute. She's an 811. By the way, I just want to point that out. She's an 8 fucking 11. Like, I genuinely had not seen such a big follower. Like, even when I was playing Mode Abyss, and when I was doing Mode Abyss, that comes out like turn 7, turn 8. This came out here on turn 6. The only blessing, right, that I could say is like, oh my god, thank goodness, is that this literally cannot attack. Like, if this could attack, like, there's no way this card would be legal ever. But funnily enough, right, despite like my quote-unquote overwhelming stats dominance, I'm dying slowly but surely to burn. Which, if this is like a third list, it's not out of the question. Like, being 3 health against them is not good. But fortunately for me, we have Sandal Form, which invokes, it heals, which is an extra crest. In fact, just slowly pushing me back out a little, and I do have the enough play points to drop an Unholy Vessel as well, which actually combos really well with Sandal Form, if you can believe it. Like, it just works really well together. That although it's really difficult to set up, right, I think it's worth trying to go for every so often. Here we super evil again, didn't gain the crest, but it's really just to clear the board and push for a little bit more damage. As you see, pushing them down to 8 while completely wiping the board, which is honestly purely the strength of crest at this point. That was just pure crest strength. And this Galleon is still alive. Can I just point that out? This Galleon is still alive. Like, this is so... It's just baffling me how this Galleon is still alive after this whole time. But here she finally get cleared, but it's too late. The game is over. If that previous game did not give you did not explain to you how bastard the playing Ether into pulling a Galleon from a deck is, I don't know what else would. Maybe there is a lot of better ways, but that one was probably my most egregious Galleon abuse ever. Like, generally so much free evols that I believe even Sandalphon is actually active on that very single turn. But here we are up against a more aggressive list, and one where I usually will have more trouble, especially in my specific list, since, well, you know, no early gain, etc, right? And I didn't even open Grimnir here, so I was kind of forced to hard drop a Galleon on 3, which actually stopped me from taking a lot of damage. That is like, genuinely, I'm not surprised. I was expecting to just straight dive to Wilbert, duh, but like, the fact that he survived is honestly a pleasant surprise. But of course, my opponent being Saw, they always have Zirconia on freaking 4, but because we are also a good gamer, we are playing Haven, we top that Blinding Faith and clear the board. And if I didn't top that, I would have literally lost on the spot, no questions asked. This is a very pure Storm focused build that I think was only around on day 1. I believe this is one of those. This will literally die like once you go into the later weeks because it's so unreliable. But for someone that's trying to cheese some wins, Wilbert would be a good answer if not for the existence of Odin, which at this point, accept it, move on. There's nothing you can do. Which this is a pretty awkward spot for me because in most situations this is a loss. Most of the time they just add in another burn, they play another Odin, but unfortunately for them, we are playing Ward Haven, so like on our side is a ridiculous number of stats. But even after, they had to invest so much effort into clearing out my board. And yes, I'm on the verge of death, and no, there's nothing I can do about it. And in which, and you know what's funny? I think Vera was a winner here, also won us the game here, because if I just evolve Vera, right, she takes what, 4 hits to kill, which they just don't have the resources to do so. Like simply no resource. They don't have the resources to clear a Vera because they already committed their Divine Thunder, which is really funny. I did not even think this is possible, but like 1 health and 1 single tree. It's like they could still win. Like top deck Odin still wins them the game. Top deck Albert, however, it isn't it because he can go through this. He could go through this Vera, and that's the game. That's game. Last but not least, we have a game against Abyss, which in my opinion will probably be like the worst matchup for Ward Haven, Crash Haven, Hybrid Haven, simply because Belial exists. In fact, like that, whenever I go up against like, well, I guess this is Mo, which still also runs Belial, but like generally Belial is just such a good counter towards Ward Haven's game plan of trying to stick followers, simply because it just like nukes the field for 10 damage, which is a lot of damage. Spoiler alert. And even then, right, they have inevitability through the crash they can get through Belial, which unfortunately Haven just cannot do anything against unless you run Tempo of Repose, but I think that's too much of a low tempo play. But let's take a look back at how the game is faring here. We are losing quite convincingly, in fact. In fact, I'm losing very convincingly. Like, leaving this up on board is like not good. That's to say the least. Not really good. You kind of don't want to do that. I'm surprised they didn't evolve here just to push for more damage, which like would have been devastating, by the way. Like generally once he does that, there's no coming back for me. It's over on the spot. I was forced to get rid of the 5-5 there. I don't want to leave it chance that he evolve it and do something even more disgusting afterwards. And you see they had taken, probably like somehow taken the damage earlier, right? They could have just like got being in such a better spot. But here they managed to get through the Wilbur. We actually bought some time to stabilize. I don't actually have a good answer, funnily enough. So we go with our standard Desperado play of Galleon plus Grimnir Super Evo, which does clear this board and also sets up a very fat board, even without Ether. Even without Ether, this is a very fat board. But they are still mode. They have the evolve advantage. Who knows what they can do? I need to watch out for Gin Yuzu, which will eventually be coming. So that's that problem, which is a very big problem indeed. How do I answer this? Vera? I think I go Vera here. Okay, I did go Vera here. Yes, Vera. Vera is still a very annoying follower to deal with, even without the Super Evo. This one will require 4 instances, because it only takes 3 damage maximum. And funnily enough, Congregant here doesn't do it. Well, now that did do it, because, you know, no aura and all, but like, thankfully, otherwise that would have been broken to like a ridiculous extent. But we can still bot clear, we can still bot wipe. We are 10 health, but like, what can you really ask for at this point? They went into a Gin Yuzu, which, well, cool, I suppose. And we counter with Ether of our own, which also builds a board, but unfortunately we don't clear the board. So if they have another Gin Yuzu, we just fall on the spot. That's not much we can do there. Slight mistake here, I could have clicked to give this additional 2 health and also aura, but it really doesn't matter. And you know what's the funniest thing? Because after all this time, right, the Gin Yuzu technically couldn't even run down one of my ward followers. Well, he could now, but like previously he couldn't. And he actually left a lot of followers alive, which I'm surprised he did. But also this is just a lot of sets. And it all got wiped by a single cut plus Binding Faith combo. Galleon is just busy evolving there as usual, getting more stacks for Sandalphon, which is set up by the Unholy Vessel here. We also have the Shining Disenchantment, which unfortunately isn't live, but I think this is good enough. Like, in fact, this is good enough. Sandalphon Lethal, just like that. Very good combo with Unholy Vessel. Try this deck out if you want, I suppose. And I'll catch you another time.